done, you have to scan them again to make sure nobody walked out.
Oh my goodness.
So we can all hide. Oh, the joys.
All right, you're
The
live.
joys.
That is funny.
Now we know what this is really about. No, I'm kidding.
So wait a minute, is this an Amway meeting?
Did you get tricked into this?
This is a pyramid scheme.
No, I'm all the way.
All right, so we've scanned. All right. Good evening. Living a life of faith, taking fear out. Several years back, as I watched my oldest son plummet further and further into a pit of darkness that I was sure would kill him and leave our family maimed and crippled, God began to speak to me about fear. I never thought of myself as fearful. In fact, if you had asked me, I would have told you I was fearless. But as the Lord opened my eyes, I was humbled and dismayed. Fear had crept in so quietly that I never even realized it was there. I'm sure many of you can relate. Fear robs us of joy and freedom, feasting on our traumas, worries, and inadequacies. Whereas faith fills us with hope, courage, and fullness of life. When you leave here tonight, I want you to leave with the power and courage to begin to address the fears that consume you, giving them to the only one who can take them out. Tonight we are going to talk about the bondage of fear and the freedom of faith. Before we begin, I need to clarify that fear has its place. If you are being chased by a grizzly bear, the fear that ensues is a healthy and good fear. In an article from Psychology Today, Christine Louise Holbom shared, fear is a tricky human emotion. It can paralyze you. It can keep you from your dreams. It can keep you small. It can also keep you safe. Fear can be your friend in just the right doses, but too much of it can kill you. In this world where we hear about one tragedy after another, it is easy to be consumed by what could go wrong. How many of you have fear over the future?
Yeah.
How about over your children or family members? How many of you have teenagers? Oh Lord, help us, right? Help us through it. How many of you are watching your teenager walk down a path that you are sure will end in destruction? Does that fear wake you up at night in panic, robbing you of breath? I've been there. What about job security, finances? Ladies, I know for us, we can be filled with fear walking 50 yards to our car in the dark. Our world functions in a state of fear, highlighting the evil acts that occur in it, leaving an imprint on our minds and our hearts. So what can we do? Okay, so to lighten some things up, I have a clip called Stop It that I want to show you.
Write them down.
Well, if it makes you comfortable, it's just two words. We find most people can remember them.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay, you're there.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it?
Yes, S-T-O-P, new word, I-T.
Okay, so it didn't start exactly where it was supposed to. It was before that she tells him that she is afraid of being buried alive in a box. And he tells her that the session will last no more than 5 minutes. He only has 2 words to tell her, and those were the 2 words. But isn't fear like that? Like, doesn't it doesn't have any logical reason a lot of times. It takes a little tiny piece of truth and it magnifies it into our brains, right? And it grows. If only we could just say those words, stop it, and our fear would be gone. How amazing would that be? I'm here to tell you that it is that easy. What if we began to stare fear right in its eyes and say to it, I know the one who can take you out? What would happen if to that fear, if we reminded ourselves who it is that holds us? As God paraded my fears before me, I could see that they had no power. For he is the only one that has power. He is the one who holds our future. He is the one who holds our loved ones, our teenagers. He is the one who holds our health, which fear even tries to rob us of that. In an article entitled, The Biology of Fear, How Being Afraid Affects Your Body, in the Huffington Post, Ryan Buxton quotes that according to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the United States, affecting 18% of the population. 18%. And those are just the ones who have gone for professional help. Please know, dear ones, that I am not saying if you are part of that 18% that you just need to have more faith. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, though, is perhaps fear has played too big of a role in that number. We have allowed fear to take up residence in our minds and twist our thoughts with stories we have heard about so it could have control. In his research on the consequences of fear, David Ropik shared, whenever something is discovered that is even possible peril, we learn of it worldwide within hours. We have allowed fear to whisper lies to us and make us believe that what it says really will happen. Roman philosopher, and please forgive me because I will butcher this name, Epictetus, shared that men are disturbed not by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. Men are disturbed not by the physical things, but by the principles and the notions which they form concerning things. During the time period with my son, I remember thinking that he may turn into a sociopath or a psychopath. Now, I kind of chuckle about it now, but seriously, the behaviors he was displaying made me wonder. In fact, when we finally put him into a treatment facility, the psychologist there said that he had antisocial personality disorder tendencies. They couldn't just tell me that he was antisocial personality disorder because he was under 18. I don't know if you know what that is, but most sociopaths and psychopaths fall into that category. When I got in my car after the meeting, I began wailing as tears gushed out. I cannot even describe to you the overwhelming feeling of despair. Right there and then I heard the Lord say to me, who are you going to trust? Man or me? That day I began saying a phrase that I have repeated since then. No matter what my eyes see or my ears hear, I will trust in you. Fear has no power on its own to rob us. It only has the power we allow it to have. There is a verse in the Bible that speaks profoundly about fear. 1 John 4:18 says, there is no fear in love. Perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. That love is ours to have because our amazing God is love, according to 1 John 4:16. Dear ones, his desire for you is to be free. Free from those fears that plague you and keep you from the joy, peace, and life that he intends for you. Let us walk out in the courage, hope, and fullness of life that comes from that freedom, throwing our fears to the foot of the cross, for he has already taken them out. John 8:36 says, so if the Son sets you free, you are free indeed. Brothers and sisters, we are free. We are free. Walk in that tonight. Seek the Lord and ask him what the fears are that hold you back from the life he wants for you. And then walk in the freedom he has for you. Let him take your fears out. Thank you.
We all stayed the whole time.